Welcome to Forte Catholic Radio. This is your host, Taylor Schroll, on this beautiful morning in Bryan College Station, Texas, as we record in the Red Sea Radio Intergalactic Studios. Thanos cannot touch us here. This headquarters is completely untouchable. I'm joined today by a man who many would say is untouchable. The one, the only, the wonder, the man-child, Shaun McAfee. Shaun, how are you, my brother?
I'm doing great. I see you've been reading your Divine Comedy.
Have I? What would make you think that I've been reading?
Where does your knowledge of Thanos come from?
Well, there are these hit movies made by this company called Marvel, who's owned by the Disney Corporation, who owns 1/3 of the entire world. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. Is there a Thanos in Dante?
Oh, yeah. Isn't he one of the gatekeepers of hell?
You do realize that I asked you a question and you answered it with a question. What are you, Jesus? Like, what's going on?
Because I'm not 100% sure, but I know he's there. Dante worked several mythological Punisher demons into the Inferno.
Well, I didn't know that, and apparently neither do you. So I just want to thank you for your input. It looks like you are looking it up over there on the Italian
internet. I
definitely am. Shaun, you and I, as you look up trivia that we could have called, well, I guess I can't make fun of you for not doing any show prep because, first of all, I didn't do much. Second of all, you didn't know that I was going to bring up Thanos. So I guess I can't be too mad at you. So while you look up a fact that literally no one cares about, why don't you tell me what you've been doing, man? You and I, we usually talk multiple times a week, and I haven't talked to you in quite some time. What's been going on, dude?
I have missed you so much.
I, too, have missed you.
Dearly. So my brother and his family came from New Jersey to visit. You've played with him on some Rocket League a few times, Trey Dog. And we took him around Italy. Went to Venice, went to Florence, went to Milan, went to Rome, and saw some really cool things. Had a really great time. And he left this morning at 12. So it was great to have him here. But I think he will agree, too. It's great to get back to normal life. So here I am.
I know you're not the most muscular guy in the world, but you didn't have to flex on us like that. Most people want to go to Rome and Italy and Venice once in their life. I did all of them in 6 days because I'm better than you. That's not what you said, but that's what I heard. And I'm sure that's what the listeners heard.
I'm going to buy you a plane ticket. If you're willing to take 6 days off, I'll get you over here.
If I'm willing to take 6 days off, of course I'm willing to take 6 days off. What's wrong with you? To go to all the best places in the world? Sure.
All right.
I don't think taking
Kayak.com.
Are we going kayaking? What is happening? Are you also doing some more show prep right after we started about kayaks?
Listeners will get it if you don't. Never mind.
I do not. And I think it's fair of you to assume that most of our listeners are smarter than me, but there are some of them that definitely are not. So some of them are with you, some of them are with me. And very confused. Speaking of kayak.com, did you learn anything about Thanos?
I'm in the middle of searching, but I'm trying not to ignore you. How's that? I love you.
You know what? I know your wife. We have met on the internet, and I would imagine she is in this situation quite a bit. So maybe after the show, I'll send her a message saying, how do you deal with Shaun when he's ignoring you? And we'll see if she ignores me or not, because I feel like that
you should have her next time around as the replacement co-host.
Just throw to Shaun, and it's just there's your wife in the back of the room. What? Taylor, what are you doing? I'm doing a radio show right now. You want to hang out?
Yeah.
Sure. You think she knows who Thanos is? Either of them?
Probably not.
Does she know what a kayak.com is?
Yeah, I would hope so.
How often have you gone kayaking in your life, Shaun?
It's not for kayaking. It's an internet search. It arranges all of the top, internet searches, combines them and consolidates them, and it's for travel. So you can look up hotels, airfare. I sound like a commercial.
No, you really don't. You don't sound that good.
You are. I'm going to get you. If I ever return to the States again, I'm going to find you.
You're not welcome here. And that's not me saying that. That's your Visa.
Ooh.
Both Visa card and your Visa to get back in the country. Does kayak.com take Visa? That's the most important question.
They do.
Does Thanos take Visa? Because I really want to get rid of him. Marvel him.
No, he takes your soul and he assigns you a punishment at the gate of hell, and you go where he says you go.
No, we're talking about different Thanoses now. Okay, we've got to get out of this. This is kind of a fun little ring we've gotten ourselves into, but
every time
we have not even started our notes yet, and we are 6 minutes and 18 seconds into the radio show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Forte Catholic, a show where we try to make Catholicism fun again. If you haven't noticed that by now, it means you either are not listening very well, like Shaun McAfee, or you yourself are on kayak.com as well. Shaun, what are the odds that somebody's listening to this while also on kayak.com?
I'm not a statistician. 1 in every 150 million.
There's a lot of my friends who I know that listen to the show who are very outdoorsy. I'm a big fan of the indoors, but they like the outdoors. What are the odds that
indoorsy?
Indoorsy, yes. I'm a modern man. What are the odds that someone is listening to this while kayaking?
Are you going to make me answer that? Less than 1%.
Okay. Well, if you are kayaking while listening to this, this will be the greatest moment in show history. Send me a message. Send me a photo, a picture of you listening to Forte Catholic while kayaking. I don't know why you would do that, but if it happens once, I will be very, very proud of you, proud of Shaun for the first time in my life, and proud of myself, to be honest. Shaun, let's start our content. Are you okay with that?
Ready.
Ministrymadness.com. Have you heard of this thing? We haven't had you on in a while. Have you heard of this whole ministrymadness.com?
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
Okay.
It was great last year.
It was great last year. Were you in it last year or 2 years ago?
I was. I didn't win.
You didn't win. Loser. So here's what I want, and there's a point to this. I want you to explain back to me the Ministry Madness bracket.
Oh, so here's what I remember is, and what I understand is that Taylor basically picks all the coolest people in the Catholic world, never to be repeated in 2 different brackets, I guess, year to year. And basically, we don't pick our favorites. We pick who we think will win in a fight.
Right.
A boxing match, specifically.
A legal boxing match. Exactly. Okay. So this is year 3 that we've been doing this. We pit all these great ministry leaders against each other. And it's a blast. It's all meant to be silly and also to showcase what great people are doing in the Catholic world. You know, people like I had just met you, and it's like, you're doing great things. You're an author. You're writing a book every other week. In between your vacations the other week of every other one. Drinking your rosé and wines I've never heard of while in all the cities we all want to be in and kayaking. Here's what's interesting about it. It's always been a blast. Every year we've done this. I in the back of my mind when we started this, I was like, there's a little risk to this. Like someone might get upset, right? Because there's 64 people in it every time. And the whole point of this is to highlight great people doing great things in the Catholic Church. It's fun for me. We get some publicity. Everybody gets to vote. The contestants get some publicity. Everybody wins. It's all silly. It's all fun. But I knew that at some point, someone would get upset with something. And there were 2 things that I thought they'd get upset about. One being oh, you didn't ask my permission to use my likeness. It's don't worry, people. I'm not making any money off of this. I promise. This is a Catholic podcast and a Catholic website. We ain't making any money, so you can't sue me because there's no money. I don't have any. And also, it's I'm giving you free promotion, so it should be fine. The other one, Shaun, that I thought would be an issue is, even when we started this, when this whole idea was a little baby, women need to be included in this, but how do we deal with the whole idea of this is a boxing match? How do we avoid as much as possible, men and women fighting each other? Because that's there's just some odd things in there. So the decision that I made with the help of some people at the beginning was we're going to have a women's bracket. There's 4 sections in the bracket. We're going to have a women's section, and then the winner of the women's bracket will then be up against the winners of the other 3 sections. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. I always thought that somebody would get upset about either of those 2 things. We went through year 1, nothing happened. We went through year 2, nothing happened. And then finally this year, I got 2 messages along those lines. One of a person that was in the bracket being asked to be removed. And they were nice about it, but I was like, can I ask why? And they're like, okay, I just don't want to be in a fictional fighting match. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I get it. No worries. Took the person off, replaced them with somebody else. No big deal. But then there was this one. So somebody tweeted out, they were like mad that there were no women in the other categories.
Oh.
Right? So like there's like a podcaster's category, there's a speaker's category, there's a priest category. So like obviously there wouldn't be any women in that one. But like they're upset that like the podcasters or the authors, it's like, why are you relegating women to one section? And I'm like, look, I get it. I've thought this through. This is why we made the decisions that we made. And like the initial people who brought this concern were like, oh, okay, like we're giving you the benefit of the doubt. That's fine. But the cat was kind of out of the bag. The person that first sent the tweet was like, okay, I get it now, later on. But everybody else keeps liking that tweet, essentially saying that I don't like women or whatever, right? And I'm just like, okay, here's the deal. This whole thing is meant to be fun. And we're having fun. And like most of the contestants are having a blast. They're sharing it on social media. And like we have a big win. It's only been out for a week. We've got 2 weeks left to go. And we've already had the most participation we've ever had in this. It's been an absolute blast, right? 95% of this has been so much fun. And then there's just 5%. And of course, that's the 5% that I focus on, right? Like the 5% of these couple people being upset with me. And like, look, here's my intention, all to be fun. And like I've thought this through. Like you're seeing this for the first time or just seeing this. I'm sorry if you're offended, but this is what I've chosen to do, and this is why. And most people have taken that like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But there's still the people that are going to be upset because they just, are scrolling through their feed. They see this post and they're like, I don't like this. It's like, oh okay, fine. I get it. So here's what I want to do. I want to ask you, how am I supposed to deal with situations where it's like, mostly wins. Things are going well. Everything's going well. But like I tend to only focus on like the 5 to 10% of negatives. What's wrong with me and how do I fix it?
Well, I think you have to be delicate. You obviously made a decision that you thought was the best, and you're a very smart person, and you thought through the opinions that people might have and your own opinions as well on it. And you made a decision, you went with it, and you executed. And running into conflict with others is really inevitable. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. Some of them are going to clash with yours. It doesn't make them right. What I always do, and what I tell my employees, is that when you run into conflict, you probably should try to see if there's any element, I guess, in truth, first of all, like moral truth and what they're trying to point out to see if you did anything wrong. But then you have to separate the chaff from the wheat. You have to decide really through discernment, what exactly is their main point? Is it going to impact, what you're trying to do here? And you have to treat that with, I guess, delicateness and really charity. And if you decide to make any changes, then you have to live with those. And it doesn't mean you need to apologize to anybody. It doesn't mean you need to change the way you're doing your brackets or anything. But try to maybe see an opinion from somebody else's point of view is always helpful. And then it's really hard to please people. You can't please people all the time. You have to realize that some of the things you do are going to affect people of faith. And that's probably the hardest thing about being in ministry and the apostolate is the fact that you don't always get along with people, even though you're trying to do the work of the Holy Spirit.
Yes, this bracket, totally the work of the Holy Spirit. I say that as
in a way it is, right?
Yeah, I say that as a joke, but like I was talking to somebody about this the other day that's a participant in it, really excited about it. And I was like, quite honestly, this might be the best idea I've ever had in my entire life. It's been so much fun. Thank you for saying what you said. It does make me feel a little bit better. In the 3 years, like there's been 5 people upset total. And like hundreds of people have voted every year, and it's been a blast. You want to hear the great irony in this? I never talk about like who's winning. Like we reveal those results in the first show, the first week of April, like whenever March Madness is ending is when the bracket ends. So go vote, ministrymadness.com, have some fun with it. The great irony in all this is that, so every year there's a Final Four, right? So every bracket has a winner that fight in the Final Four. So it's the podcasters, it's the speakers, it's the priests, and then the women. The irony is, it's like the first year, the woman got 4th place. Okay, that's fine. I kind of saw that coming. The next year, our friend and co-host Allison Sullivan moved up to 3rd place. The great irony right now, even with all this pushback, for the first time in Ministry Madness history, A woman is currently winning the Ministry Madness bracket. I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to say who. Yes, overall, there is a woman in the bracket who is winning, and like for the moment, second place is close, but first and second are so far above the field that I was just like, look, ladies, what a woman's winning. Leave me alone, right? So,
and how does she compare to the people of last year? Would she have beat out the first round of everybody last year as well?
See, I don't know because it's all based on matchups. So I'm glad you brought up the matchups because the last thing I want to do here in this first segment is highlight some of the closest matchups in the first round right now. So one in every section of the bracket. So first in the podcasters bracket, there is one matchup between Edmund Mitchell and Tommy McGrady that is within 4 votes, Shaun. There have been hundreds of people that have voted in this, and it's within 4 votes, so it's crazy. Edmund, he's a podcaster, youth minister. He runs a show called The Show, which I think is awesome. It's like, hey, I'm the host of the show. What show? The Show. Yeah, like it's a blast. He's a lot of fun, doing a lot of creative things. And then Tommy McGrady, who's a co-host with his wife, Katie Prejean McGrady, who was a contestant last year, 2 years ago. She's been a contestant before of the Electric Waffle podcast. They are a blast. This next one's pretty funny because just in my personal opinion, and one of these guys that is a buddy of mine, Johnny Philp, great musician, youth minister, speaker. He is currently very close to a man who is very highly rated coming into this bracket. So we've got he's a little behind right now, but we've got a close matchup with Adam Bly, who's a demonologist. Have you heard of this guy, Shaun?
Oh, yeah. I saw him speak in St. Louis, and I've read his books. He's really, really smart. He's good. Yeah, he's phenomenal. I was leading a youth conference, and he came in and spoke with us. Spoke to the young people with us. It was a blast. Well, that matchup is a lot closer than I thought it would be because Adam literally fights demons. I thought he'd be doing, fairly well. And he's doing well overall, but this first matchup is pretty dang close. It's like he can fight demons. I think he can fight Johnny Philp. All right, come on, Johnny. Like I love you, man. I love you, man. The Priest. This is literally the closest matchup. The closest matchup we have. Like I'm not even joking. It is 1 vote away. As of recording right now, there's one that is literally 1 vote. It could go either way. The favorite coming in, Father Donald Calloway, is winning by 1 vote. You heard him too. He's a great speaker. Yeah. So speaks at the Fullness of Truth conferences. He's great. And then my friend, who I just met at Focus in January, the man who is known for wearing a dinosaur suit, an entire dinosaur suit during the conference. Like I met him. And then all of a sudden, this dinosaur comes and says hello to me, and I'm like, "What? Do I know you?" And I there's like the little thing that you can see through in this big dinosaur costume. It's Father Joseph Anthony Kress. He's inside of the dinosaur costume. Also, fun story about Father Joseph Anthony Kress. I was on the phone with him one time when he got in a wreck. Everything was fine. No. He was fine. Everybody was fine. It was just a little fender bender. He was like, "Hey, I have to go," and then he called me back like 3 minutes later. And it's like, "Yeah, it's all fine. Everything's good." And then in the women's bracket, this might be my favorite matchup ever. Maybe. It's pretty close. None and nunner?
None and nunner, right? So it's there's these group of these 2 ladies who are not real nuns, not real sisters. And I learned this years after I heard that they actually that they were a group, right? So they make these comedy videos. They're hilarious. Very, very funny. If you're not following them yet, find them. They're all over the place on social media at None and Nunner. So we've got them. We've got them in the first matchup, and it is very close as well. Nobody can decide there. So, Shaun, that is our closest matchups for this week. The people can all go vote at ministrymadness.com. Let's keep having some fun. Well, Shawnee, speaking of fun, we always joke about replacing you as a co-host, and I would never ever do that. I would never replace you as a co-host, but. I gotta make a confession, dude. We did this pre-recorded interview with Allison Sullivan, one of the other co-hosts, and Liv Harrison, who came into town from Houston, phenomenal speaker. We're gonna air this pre-recorded interview, dude. I'm sorry, I'm actually gonna have to replace you today.
This was your plan the whole time.
It was my plan the whole time. I still love you, though, Shaun. We're not done with the show, but Shaun, I'm done with you today. I'm gonna miss you.
I'm not talking to you for another 24 hours.
Okay, deal, man. All right, guys. Shaun, you have to leave. Nobody else go anywhere. We will be right back. Well, Shaun won't. I will be right back with Allison Sullivan and Liv Harrison for a fantastic conversation. It gets real. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. Take 2 of our second segment here today because my co-hosts refuse, all of them, across the board, refuse to not talk over the intro and outro music. So, to be honest, I don't even know when this is airing. This is a very special, very special, near and dear to our heart interview that we're doing here. It's in person. This is on, what is today? I don't even know what today is. Tuesday? It is a Tuesday morning, and we are here in the studio with maybe your co-host for the rest of the show today, maybe not. Allison Sullivan, how are you?
Hi, can I talk now?
You can talk now.
Hi, Taylor.
You are free to talk.
Rules are hard sometimes.
They really, really, really are. Allison, why are we here on a Tuesday morning when I probably should be at work?
Because our dear friend Liv Harrison is in town and we needed to take full advantage of her joy and wisdom and sparkling personality.
Is she here yet?
Oh, I am. I'm here. And she read that exactly like I wrote it. Good job, Allison. Allison can read. That sounds good, right? That's why I'm here for joy and sparkleness.
Yep. I can deliver a good line.
You know what's funny? It's funny you bring that up because I'm getting tired of on the podcast, like me doing all of the reads for our sponsors and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have other people do some reads soon.
I want to do it.
Okay, we'll do.
Can I be your sponsor reader?
We'll do one right after this. Actually,
great. That's my dream.
That's your dream.
Yeah. So I want to make people buy paper towels.
What's going to be great is whenever you think of paper towel company. Just because I look like the brawny man does not mean that I have paper towels.
Well, it was the flannel. I mean, your head. What? Go ahead.
Welcome to the Liv Harrison Show, everybody. Wait, Liv, is Allison allowed to talk on your podcast?
When I have a podcast, yes.
Yes.
I'm not going to have a podcast. Why would I? Everyone has one. So, you know.
Yeah, those people are nerds.
Yeah. What losers. Who wakes up and says, I should have a podcast? Yeah, you guys. So,
us too.
Yeah, not me. I haven't woken up yet, so I'm good. I guess I'll wait till the next thing. I like your podcast, though. You're already doing it. You're killing it. So what do I have to say? You guys are crushing it. When you start slipping, all right, maybe I'll come in. But you guys are amazing.
Allison and I are both looking at Liv while she says things like, what do I have to say? When she will not stop talking. But
I thought it was my turn. I'm the guest. I drove here. All right, fine. Go ahead.
Allison and I are both looking at each other like, we have things to say. Allison, what do you got over there?
I never have anything to say. I'm forced to say things. You force me to say things completely against my will.
Forte Catholic. We force everyone to say things they don't want
to. It's like
to.
Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the three of us are obviously having fun. We've been having fun for most of the morning.
Indeed.
Because, Liv, you went on Allison's podcast, which you don't think she should have for some reason.
Oh, my
gosh. Apologize.
I shouldn't have a podcast because you guys already have some. You're already doing the good work.
I heard you, Liv.
Thank you, Allison.
He's twisting it all around.
I've never once twisted anybody's words on this show. Never
Since
once.
the moment I met you, which was basically 5 minutes ago. So it's been a long 5 minutes.
Our entire relationship of the last hour and a half is a lie.
I've been confused.
I've been very confused. Welcome to Forte Catholic.
I love
so are
it.
the listeners.
Cool.
It's fantastic. I want to tell a story real quick. You and I met, Liv, about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
We're not being funny anymore. We're being serious.
You followed me on Instagram for quite some time because I'm really cool. But we finally met in person.
I think he followed me, but okay.
I followed first. Okay.
No, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
You definitely followed me first.
Okay, fine.
I don't know the story, but that's the story we're going with. I literally don't know.
I like it.
It was probably
less creepy on my end.
I'm really sure that it was all because of me anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give that. Okay, fine.
I followed
Instagram
Allison
friends.
first.
We had not met in real life until a week and a half ago.
Until a week and a half ago. We did at the Fullness of Truth conference because I was running the youth track and you were the bubbly MC. What did you say? Bubbliness earlier? What was your word?
I said sparkle.
She did. She coined it. Again, it was
Sparkleness.
Allison. I don't know why we keep taking credit for your work.
Well, it's par.
Well, Liv, as the host
Yeah.
of Sinner Saint Sister, how do you feel?
Well, I'm married to a doctor, so it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
me?
So is Allison.
Oh,
That's
that was
the joke.
Allison.
Yes, the two
No,
of us
Allison
got
is
that.
the one with the podcast and the married doctor. Got it. That's not me. I'm the chubby funny one. So there you go. Write it down.
No, I'm
Write
the
it
chubby
down.
funny one.
Well, then what the heck do I bring to the table?
I don't know. That's what we're here to
Jeez.
find out.
Why am I
Lots
here?
of personality chemistry happening
man.
right here, you guys.
Good gracious.
I'm in the
Story.
middle of all of this. It's
You're off to the side, actually. We put you in the corner.
yeah, indeed.
Everyone puts Allison in the
Metaphorically.
corner.
She's the professional. All right,
So-
go ahead.
People.
Okay, so I've always been confused by this. Okay, we put you in a corner, but we also put you in a corner with a cough button that would be really good for you to use whenever you're like drinking water or
You
something.
insist on this cough button.
Right here. They
I
like
know.
it in radio.
They do like it.
I do a lot of radio.
I am telling you, he pushes that. He does.
Yeah.
He coughs so that he can push the button. He doesn't push the button so he can cough.
I'm
See?
terrified of the cough button.
I
do a
am
lot, and I
too.
never
I'm like,
press it.
I
I
don't
just
either.
don't cough. I swallow it.
Same.
You swallow that cough.
That's right.
How serious of a pro are you?
See, you're a wuss. is
Allison's
what's-
a pro.
What we're
we're here to
well,
take over
this
your
just
podcast.
got interesting.
you stifle that cough like everyone else.
No. I want this to go back to being Allison's fault. How did this
Okay.
happen?
Yeah, it's your fault.
Y'all
no.
No. Okay, so we met. We are getting to it being Allison's fault in just a second.
Okay.
Okay. So you and I met.
Mhm.
We were like, hey, I'd love to have you on the show.
Mhm.
And you were like, I'm actually coming in a week and a half to come be on Allison's podcast. So like, I'm coming into town. Let's go ahead and do the show then. I was like,
I
sweet.
said I'm hanging out with Allison. Yeah, it was Allison Liv Day, and you kind of, I think, like made your way into this. We're having a special day
So am I.
now
It was going to
because
be.
we're sharing our day with you.
you elbowed your
exactly.
way into it.
A little bit.
I did.
Mansplained himself in there. No, it's fine. Go ahead.
It comes from a deep wound that you're all laughing at. In junior high, I was never invited to anything, so I have to continually
Is that
invite
true?
myself to things. Yes,
that true?
everything
Are you
I
just
say is
saying
true.
it?
Why?
I was the tall, awkward white guy.
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of those.
Yes, and none of them
That
have
get
any
invited.
friends. No,
What? No, not
no,
your story.
not me. Not
okay.
not I.
All right.
I was a nerd with no friends. And so
Look at you now.
you two laughing at me, not much better.
Well, now we laugh with you with microphones.
Yay! Now my shame is all over the radio waves
Isn't
instead of in my room alone as an 8th grader. So
That's what we're all doing.
so I did. I had to force my way into the situation, but because I need to force my way to have a friend. Okay. So we got that out of the way. So
Okay.
anyway, we made plans.
Mm-hmm.
You made plans and I joined them. Y'all made plans to meet this morning.
Indeed.
To record an episode of Sinner Saint Sister, Liv's podcast. And
That is Allison's. Oh my God. People are going to go on and they're going to be like,
So
"Gosh, she's-"
disappointed.
No, they're going to be like, wow, she's way better than I remember on Forte Catholic.
half the people are disappointed, the other half, this isn't her.
No. Allison is superior to me in every way possible.
my-
Go ahead. Continue.
Stop
Yes, we
that
did this. We
right
did her
now.
amazing podcast. You need to be listening.
Allison did not deny it. Okay, so
He's so mean.
we made the plans to do the show back then. Then yesterday, 12 hours before all of this happened, maybe 14, okay? I'll give you 14. Hey, Allison, we're
Yeah.
on the phone. Tomorrow, here's what you're doing your show first. Let's go get like drinks or a meal or coffee or something like that. And then we'll come over to the Red Sea Radio Studios where we record my show and we'll do the interview there. Cool. Everything's fantastic. We're going to meet at around noon for lunch. So right before noon, Allison texts me, we're ready. Very prompt. I'm proud of you. We talked last time you were on the air about how you didn't think I would be prompt, and then immediately following, you were late to my show.
I am usually a very punctual person, and if I'm not, it's anxiety inducing.
Interesting.
Well, I experienced that. Okay, so here's what happened. 11:58 this morning.
Mm-hmm.
You say, we're ready.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, and you said, where do you want to meet? And I said, well, I mean, I eat anything. Like, where do y'all want to go eat?
Mm-hmm.
And you said, well, we're both fasting, but we'll watch you eat. And that is a very weird position to be put in.
Do you want to know the most shocking part of this story to me?
Sure.
Is that you have any problem being watched eating.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean,
like that point. I'm on Team Allison right now.
Let's dig into this. So, why do you think I enjoy people watching me eat? That's a strange desire.
I mean, I can't believe that you would think of others at all. Like while you're
You go to a restaurant and you sit and people watch you eat all the time. They do it all the time. You don't know those people. At least you know us. I mean, you and I go way back.
People watch me eat?
Well, they're there.
They're there.
They're
going to be in your presence. We're going to be enjoying a topic of conversation that isn't this.
Yeah, really. What if we just finished a meal and we're sitting and you're the guy that was like, "Oh, I didn't know I could make the lunch," and you skate on in and we're like, "Oh, we already finished eating." You still order a burger and we'll sit there with you.
That's
Come on,
right.
Okay.
See, I don't see why my plan had to dictate yours.
Yeah.
No.
He feels
our
cheated.
plan.
He feels
our plan was to get lunch together.
He needs a Snickers. This is a Snickers commercial. Is this the sponsor? Is that what we're doing right now? This is it. I just did it. I did my first Snickers commercial.
Brownie
Someone
commercial,
give you
Snickers
something
commercial.
to eat.
Oh my gosh.
He's just an angry elf. Man.
He's about to rip his shirt off and
I
turn
mean,
green.
yeah. Is this a Marvel thing? What is wrong with
Okay,
you?
so first of all, let me talk on my show. Okay,
Okay, fine.
So
He will silence you.
I have muted many a people.
Look at
Allison
the
is
power
getting close.
has gone to his head.
Okay, so I'm going to talk now. So the big problem for me, Allison, is that it's not that we didn't end up eating, which originally, my intention was just to hang out with you people. We got that. I went over and hung out and I yelled about this, and then we recorded another one of Liv's podcasts, Sinner Saint Sister. So why make plans to go
Taylor,
eat and then say we're not going to eat? We're just going to make you feel guilty about eating while we're being holy and
I'm going to be
fasting.
straight up with you right now.
Okay.
So if you must know, and it sounds like you must, I have been using food in a way that is not holy. Thank you very much. Okay. And so it is not just a celebration or a comfort or a checkout. It's all of those things. And so as a pursuit of holiness, I have decided, because spring break was a little woohoo for me in that department. And it's, during Lent, I had completely fallen off my Lent wagon. And so I was with a friend and she was talking about a 7-day fast that she did. And it was just kind of this way to, in an emergent way, get back on track. So I'm going to do at least 3 days. Now, when we made these plans, well, I guess we did kind of make the plans when I knew that this was happening. But but it made sense to go to lunch because we were getting together at a lunch time. So I thought I can sit there. I'm going to have some tea. Nobody needs to, know. Or I can, whatever. Well, then Liv shows up at my door and we start talking, as girls do, about food issues. And we realized that we are similar creatures. And so then we kind of fist bumped and decided to do this thing together.
So what I hear is you corrupted Liv into going against me to be the... But
it was not my intention.
Right. And this is... You're still muted?
I'm still muted.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. What are you saying?
You pushed your cough button.
What do you mean?
You pushed your cough button in. You muted yourself.
Okay, sure, Taylor. Sure, that's what happened.
This gets...
So you're saying because I don't look like she does that I was just coerced into... how do you say that? Coerced?
Coerced.
Mm-hmm.
We all had plans
Is
to
that what you're saying,
eat
Taylor?
lunch.
Because it's easy to look at her and say, well, obviously she's fasted her whole life.
No,
she's like, cute.
no.
Okay.
And then I come in, you're like, have you fasted? Like, since your amniotic
No.
fluid days?
You're
Like,
just
when
trying
was
to
the
get me
last
in
time
trouble.
you fasted? Was it in utero? Is that what you're saying?
All you two
Just trying to get back
ladies
to my
have
birth
done
weight, Taylor.
all day.
Trying to get back to the birth weight.
All you've done to the birth weight.
Listen,
Jeez
it's a
Louise.
goal. It's a goal.
Oh, have mercy.
All I've been trying to do today is be a good person, and you're trying to make me out to be something that I am not.
You're brave.
The entire point of this, bringing up this entire conversation,
Mm-hmm.
is all three of us
Have not eaten.
have not eaten. So
Call a spade a spade. We're hungry.
A little grumpy, y'all. A little grumpy.
So, okay, real conversation about, like, this is an example of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of us went into this situation with good intentions,
Yes.
right? Your intention to grow in holiness, perfect.
Yep.
Totally on board. Wish you wouldn't have made lunch plans, but totally on board.
Oh my gosh.
with the idea behind it. Liv, you came in. Your intention was what?
Be Paris Hilton. Yes.
Okay, that might be a little skewed.
A Kardashian. I'll even take Khloe.
Let me guess. Let me guess as to what your intention was. I wanted to have lunch with you just to get to know each other. But
right.
before we came and did the show, I would imagine your original intention with me was, sure, that sounds fine, that sounds cool. And then Allison corrupted you and said, you need to be holier. So do this with me, okay?
Okay, listen, she and you do have a history. Y'all know each other. I don't know you. So I wasn't going to be that guy and be like, hey, like, I'm going to come in and not eat. And then you'd be like, are you sure you haven't ever eaten? Because you look like you haven't skipped a meal ever.
You
and then
don't
I'm
know
like,
me.
that's
I'm
weird.
not that mean.
You don't know me. Like, I intermittent fast. And that's what I gave up for Lent.
You gave up intermittent fasting?
No, I gave up food for Lent. But I do allow myself to eat at 4 o'clock. I'm allowed to eat at 4 till 9.
So now you're seeing into our
This already
conversation.
happened.
I'm explaining what's going on with me,
And I said, hey, I'm
Liv's
doing the
like,
same.
hey, I'm doing a version of the same thing, and I
Yeah.
was like, well, listen, I have all these snacks that I have put out. I mean, I didn't expect anyone to take this on with me, and yet here we are.
And I was like, great, Taylor will eat them. And then Taylor decided to be the third girl for today.
Right.
And decided that, oh my gosh, it's his time. And he's like, man, I don't want to eat.
and he's going to gripe about it incessantly.
Jeez.
Okay, so
God, Taylor.
here's the deal. So I come into this, and like my intention was just to hang out. We did that. I'm happy with that. Fine. Okay. Here's where the awkwardness came in for me. Now it's like, okay, I put off having breakfast because I was going to have breakfast at 10:30, and then we were going to eat at noon together. And so I come. It's just funny to me, right? Like I come in and the situation is funny to me. But then it's like, I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be the bad guy, the only person eating while people are fasting. Have you heard of the Our Father? Lead us not into temptation, right? I don't want to be you've never heard that? I don't want to be the person leading people into temptation, right? It's this whole thing like being the husband when the wife is pregnant. Like, do you drink? Do you drink in front of her? Do you drink?
This is not AA. We're okay.
Yeah.
We can go into we still have to be around people who eat.
Right.
You know, as someone who
Right.
has an eating disorder, for real, I say that all the time. Like, it's really difficult to be someone who has an eating disorder because it's not like, I mean, and I do have other like vices, but it's like, I have to face that 3 times a day
Right.
with everyone all the time.
Like just abstaining
Like
isn't
life is my bar.
right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everywhere I go. So it definitely is an interesting vice to have. But you've got to face it, right? So no, you're not hurting me. And that's what I was trying to tell you. It's okay.
I
Not
will
the
say that I would have no problem making y'all watch me eat if it was lunchtime and we said that we had plans and y'all were fasting.
Yeah, I would have manned up, but that's fine.
See, that's interesting. So here's my predicament, and it's
You didn't know what to do.
yeah. So I come in and like I felt like, and like it wasn't a big deal. I was laughing about it, but I felt like I was danged if I do and danged if I don't. Right? If I eat, then it's like, why I'm being the only jerk eating while I know that people are fasting. Right? If I don't eat, it's like now I'm refusing hospitality. Now, like, Allison was upset that I wasn't eating. It was like, what the heck's wrong with you? Why
Wasting my food.
Yes, sure.
Okay, I will go on Team Taylor for 1 second, and say, look, if we were giving up chocolate and you were like, hey, I'm Willy Wonka, come to my factory, hop in my river. Okay, you might be a little bit of a jerk. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, Taylor, like
Hop
we couldn't have
in my river.
We couldn't have done. Okay, I kind of love that. Like, yeah, okay, I hear you. All right, like if it was the one thing, you know what I'm saying, and like when it was the one whatever, and very specific. But I think because it's so broad,
Right.
Fasting is so broad, and we have to do it over a long period of time. It's not just like the one thing we love most on the planet,
Right.
Then I could go on your argument of, yes, if we were over here going, I'm not drinking water for Lent, that would be dumb. But I mean, unless you're doing it. Anyway. And you're just like, you know, bathing yourself like in a, you know, Dove commercial, pouring it on your body and being like whatever with the water all day. That's jerky. But if it's just something broad, like whatever, okay, Taylor,
That was
eat
a
meal.
very specific situation. If you
I'm
are
saying if
pouring
it was
water over
specific.
you in a Dove commercial, you're a jerk.
Yeah, if you have a hose and you're just spraying it in your mouth and you're, like spraying out, that's jerky. But if it's so broad, like that's on us.
Right.
We picked a broad thing. So
Yeah.
we were doing something specific and then you were a jerk and just decided to like do it in front of us. Okay, yeah, that's
I think
on
that's
you.
a really good point.
Then you're a jerk.
Okay. So we have this specific situation, right? But these situations happen a lot with good Catholic Christian people who all have good intentions, and yet they come into a situation and then they disagree on things, and like on things more important than am I going to eat lunch or not, right? Where we can sit here and laugh about it. But like, how do you guys deal with those situations? Because it happens in ministry, it happens in marriage, it happens in where it's like, I don't think you're like, there are a lot of people, like, I don't assume that y'all had bad intentions or whatever, right?
Right.
And like, so, but like in real situations, when it comes to real relational things, how do y'all deal with situations like that where it's like, we disagree on how this should go or how it went, but there was probably good intentions on both sides. Like, how do we deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
Like the judginess kind of a situation. Like, for instance, I think it's on both sides. And I'm going to speak, which I do not like speaking from this place, but I'm just going to, in the mommy culture. I mean, that alone makes me sick to my stomach. But let's be real. You will find on both sides of the fence, you'll find the ones who are like, look, I only sleep with my baby whilst breastfeeding, whilst, wrapped in hemp, whilst making squash banana peels. I don't know, whatever. Like, and then you have the one that's like, this all day, every day. I don't even see my kid. I don't even want to. And it's like, why do we have to keep placing like what you're talking about? Why does, if you want to breastfeed in your bed with hemp all day, hemp wrap. Let me be a little more clear. Okay.
Good catch.
Clearing it up. Okay. Why do I have to judge whether or not you're judging how I feel about that? And you shouldn't be judging me whether I'm doing that or not. Like, there's judgment on both sides of that story. Like in the Catholic world, if I veil for Mass, I personally don't. But as friends who do veil, I've had friends who then judge me because they veil and I don't. And then I've had friends who veil who judge me thinking I'm judging them for veiling. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we just lay out, like you were judging, like, well, I don't know. Do I eat? Do I not? Like, why? And I think Allison's point is, why is our decision, why does that reflect on you at all? It had zero to do with you.
Yeah.
But we do that a lot as Catholics. Either way of that coin, we either judge or we assume people are judging. And it's like, why? Why does that have to do with anything? I don't know if that's kind of where you're going and how we handle that. How do we have those conversations of, can we just like, how about I give you the benefit of the doubt and I'm going to go ahead and veil and that's cool. And you don't need to judge me on that. And I'm not going to assume that you are. How about that?
Yeah.
How about, I'm going to fast and that's okay or whatever it is. And maybe that's why in the Bible it says like, don't let everybody know what you're doing. You're supposed to be praying.
Right.
So maybe that's
you
about
can't,
judgment.
but I can talk about it on the radio.
Well,
So you're right. So Taylor will be quiet about it. We should not be letting the world know what we've chosen to give up. You know that thing that came out, the Yanni and Laurel thing?
Yeah.
And so the sound, you hear do you know what I'm talking about, Liv?
No.
Okay.
Yanni.
The sound
Laurel.
comes out. It's a
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm there. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And people either hear Yanni or Laurel. It's
Yes.
totally fascinating, right? But then Seth and I found this like a measurer where you can slide the thing where you start to hear something different. But so I don't know if Taylor, you might know more about sound. Like, is it frequency or what? But there's something.
One was a deeper frequency, one was a higher frequency.
But different people's ears pick up
It's as you
different
get older,
things.
Yeah,
right? It was an older thing.
The older you got, the less higher
You
you
couldn't hear the
so
high
you
one.
only could hear the low one.
It was
Okay.
ageism. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but
kidding.
I thought it was fascinating because in that one instance, you could look at a person and you could say, "Oh, I hear this," and then this person's like, "I hear something different," and then everyone was fine with it. That's just what my ears do. It's just different. So sameness makes me lose my mind. Like in general, sameness makes me absolutely crazy. So the Lord knit us together so intricately, so differently. Of course you have different leanings. Of course you feel compelled to veil or sleep with your baby in your bed or go out into the workforce or whatever. Of course. The Lord made you very intricately for this day that he put you here on this earth. So if we could just approach it with the same indifference that we do Yanni and Laurel, I think the world would be a better place.
We just saved the world. Basically, I totally with what you're saying. Equality does not equal sameness, and we want it to. And that's what the secular world keeps telling us. Like, men and women are equal. But guess what? That does not mean we are the same. And
Absolutely.
praise God, we're not the same.
Amen.
But that's where we now just apply that concept of, oh, but we're equal. No, we're equal in dignity. We're equal in dignity as mothers, as fathers, as college students, as grandmas, whatever. And we're equal, but that does not mean we have to be the same. That does not mean because I'm doing this, I now therefore think you should do it, or you have to assume that I think that that's what I think you should do. I have a really I have an interesting story which kind of goes long, so I might not say it, but if you want me to, I can. But it's about
Here I go.
I have a great story, but you don't get it.
No, but listen, it's that the world has made us afraid to be different, because I, as a Catholic, get scared all the time that I'm going to be judged for being Catholic. For instance, I was in New York. My cousin is a Broadway composer. So when we were in New York, we spent a lot of time on Broadway in ways that most normal people don't, because that's her scene. Okay. That's like her people. So we're backstage, and this specific performance, it was a very A-list Hollywood crowd on like the stage. And so I'm back there with them, and I was going to go on Sirius XM the next morning on the Jen Fulweiler show. And I was excited about going to Sirius XM and all this stuff. And they kept asking me, oh, what are you going for? And the last thing I wanted to do was to tell them I'm going on the Catholic channel. You know why? Because I was terrified they were going to think I was judging them because the particular show and their particular lifestyles, if you catch my drift. And the last thing I wanted them was to assume, oh, here she is. Here's that little Catholic. And she just thinks all these things where it's like, they don't know me. And yeah, just because I don't believe certain things doesn't mean that I'm applying this to all the whatever. It's just fascinating. I see like what Allison is saying, that sameness has really crippled what we're talking about, and that people think we have to come at the same place. Except I think Taylor's asking, so, but how do we like have the conversation? How could we avoided the awkwardness of today?
I think what the answer is this conversation. And I was thinking about it when I was driving over here, because we drove separately, and I was like, I think just talking about it is what fixes it, right? Whether it's in your marriage or with your kids or in ministry or with, two random people on a podcast and a guest,
We're random.
Yeah. So I think that's the answer. It's like just having the conversation, because what happens is, like, Allison and I know each other. Liv, we've just met, but like I have no reason to not trust you or to think you have bad intentions. But what happens is, like, these situations happen, and then the judgment and the assumptions start to build up. Like, Allison and I have a long enough history. It's like, I don't think you purposely put me in an awkward situation.
Right.
You're just like, going along your merry day, doing your thing and trying to make people happy. Right. And like, I think having that foundation of trust and of like assuming the good is how it works.
Right.
But if we let these situations continue to build up, then you start assuming the bad.
Absolutely.
If you don't talk about it.
And when we judge one another, the world, like you're talking about your experience on Broadway, the world sees our sin over a savior. So when you say Catholic, no one's necessarily thinking of a merciful God, Jesus. They're thinking of judgment. So the world sees our sin over a savior, which is unfortunate. But I think that entering into taboo conversations just like this, because it's easier to not talk about it, right? It's easier to not invite you into my food issues. I mean, that's easier.
Absolutely.
But it's also an intimacy builder to do that and to explain, to give the full story, or to just allow words to be spoken into this thing that's tender. So I think we should opt for that every time.
I'm glad the three of us had this really intimate conversation with no one listening.
This is perfect.
This is just tremendous.
So bonding.
This is a safe space, you guys.
Safe space. No one else is here. We're in padded
no
walls. So, Liv, we did not do a good job of introing you at all.
Why is she here?
What is she doing
Who
here?
is she? I was literally walking by St. Mary's, and they were like, well, you look not busy. Why don't you hop on in?
So you don't have a podcast, do you? Come here.
Right, you're not important. Do you have a blog? No? Great.
So on our way out,
Yeah.
we need a bio, and then I want to promote an event that you two are doing together.
That's true.
Also,
we are.
with another friend of our show, Allie Hoffman. So,
Ooh, love me some Allie.
who are you? How can people get connected with you? What do you do? And then let's talk about this event.
Okay, I am like everybody else. I'm a Catholic speaker, but I'm also a Catholic MC. But I would love to do something
Like a
that
rapper?
isn't Catholic. Yeah, right. MC Liv. I need to come up with I should. No, somebody told me that this weekend that I need to say I'm a master of ceremonies and not say I'm an MC. And I kind of want to put that out on the internet. And I'm like, I don't think anyone under the age of 65 cares what I call myself. You know what I mean?
I don't think anyone cares.
I don't think anybody calls. Let's be honest, Liv. Nobody cares at all. So I don't know. I host events and I speak, but I've been doing this work a really long time. First talk I gave, I was 13, and the first retreat I wrote, I was 18. This is the second conference I've actually written that Alice and I are going to do. But I work with Fullness of Truth, which is here in Texas, and then I do my own spiel. I have my own website, www.thelivharrison.com.
Please never, ever again put www dot in front of
www.
Wait,
Dot
Taylor.
HTTPS
The
dot
World
dot slash
Wide
slash.
That's
Web.
something that old people do?
World Wide Web.
Absolutely.
What are you supposed to say?
You just say thelivharrison.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's also my Instagram.
Don't say
Listen,
the, because then I would put THA. Live here.
The? Oh, God bless America.
Land
It depends
that I
on who
love.
I'm talking to. If I say the, then people tell me, you should say the. And then if I say the, people are like, you should
Those
say
people
the.
have never tried to plug in a website.
Oh, my gosh.
Here's
Okay,
what you
fine.
need to do. Here's what you want. If you want to say whatever you want,
You're killing me,
Here's what you need to
Smalls.
do is just go buy the domain name THA Liv Harrison and just have it point towards the other one.
No
and
one
you'll be
assumes
fine.
THA Taylor. No one does that.
you.
No one.
They do when you say I'm MC Liv. That
Okay.
sounds like a rapper. And a rapper would have THA Liv Harrison.
This is a really good plug. I'm excited. I really think I'm going to get a lot of work after this. This is going to be fantastic. Now I'm a really big deal. So thank you, Taylor, for sharing your space with me. So and then this conference I'm doing is called sheisgenius.com. The conference is called Genius, but the website is She is Genius. Allison's one of my speakers, so,
She's awesome.
Allie Hoffman is a speaker. There you go. It's going to be amazing. It's at Lost Pines. Come. You should bring your wife, and then you could just stay in the room and float the river. We don't care that you're there.
I'm not a trophy husband. I don't look good enough.
we're
Allison,
not gonna watch
Allison, what are
you.
you talking about at this conference?
We just kind of brainstormed that out this morning. I think
did.
we're going to talk a little bit about some identity and community. It's going to be good. It's going to be really great.
We want to dive in a little deeper than what most women conferences go into, so...
Every women's conference says that, but good luck.
No, they don't. They really don't. Because we go to them, and Allison and I are not interested in that.
No, my point is they say they will. Most of them don't.
Well, that's
the-
because we're not in charge.
There you go. So if
Different
you
sheriff
want
in
your
town.
life to change and go to the best thing ever, go to
Listen.
sheisgenius.com. Not www. Not https .//www. Go to thelivharrison.com. Go to She Is a Genius or just Genius?
She is genius.
She is Genius.
Yeah, the conference is genius. And then you can find me on the Jen Fulweiler show a lot. And if you're in Houston, you can listen to me on Mondays sometimes, coming up. But I don't know when you're airing this, so it's fine.
I don't either.
Great.
Okay, but we're going to air it at some point.
Awesome.
And we're going to get out of here. This was over 2 segments long.
Really?
So I don't
was
know what
afraid
we're
of
going
that.
to
Segments longer.
do. Sure, this is your podcast.
And you
now.
can't be bothered to edit.
Okay, so friends, here's
Bye.
the book ending this. Allison is once again talking over the outro music. Thank you so much
I
to the both of you.
insist.
Y'all are awesome. Guys, I think I'm just going to wrap up the show now because this was 2 segments long. So thanks for listening to Forte Catholic. Everything about the show, speaking, music, all at FORTE Catholic.com. We'll be back next week. See ya!